Hi, Carol here. A warm welcome to my craft room once again. Well, my friends, here's the footage. I decided to put it up even though I lost the last bit of footage. Remember, I didn't do a card for at least a month. I was so, I don't know, I lost my zeal after working hard on a project and then losing the backside of the card that actually pulled it together was more than I could stand. It's all I could stand. I couldn't stand no more, as Popeye would say. And it sat here and sat here on my iMovie storage, and I kept it. And today I decided, you know what? The one side is worth watching, because if you don't want to do a duplicate side, just doing what I have here will make a pretty card. And I've got my Coca-Cola in my chilled glass ready to do another project for you. So this is going to be broken up into two because, like I said, I had a front and a back. I lost the back portion, or you could say I lost the front, whichever way you were looking at the card. So here it's 5 1/4, 5.5 by 4 1/4 inch standard card side in the Recollections 110-pound cardstock I get at Michael's. I am using the Mini Misty. I'm sliding it over because you get a little bit of an edge on this stamp so that, it stamps off and looks pretty. And I'm putting my VersaFine on here, and I'm going to use clear embossing powder. And I'm going to do the back of the card in clear embossing powder because I am going to use those wonderful powders. I wanted to use a lot of different products to show you throughout this card. So I decided on the back portion where my scripture verse is going to go. I did hand lettering, brush lettering on this, and I use my Perfect Pearls. Perfect Pearls are wonderful. And here I'm just going to heat set this portion so that it has the clear embossing powder, and we're going to leave that on the bottom. I wanted it to be subtle, and that's what we're going to get. So let's heat set that. Then we're going to use the Prima paints on the reverse side. So there was a lot of different projects, different ideas going on in this card. So I set that aside for now. I'm going to get out another 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch card base. And this I'm going to put the baby powder on. Love baby powder because it smells so good in your craft room and it does a great job. So I put this down and I put the foam piece in there. And I'm going to stamp it with Versamark, but we're going to do it with gold. Any type of gold embossing powder will look nice. So we'll get that set in there. I left it in from the last card. I chose to do a glitter embossing powder on this once I get the Versamark down. And to achieve that, if you don't have a sparkle kind of glitter embossing powder, just take a coffee filter like this, and then add your gold, and then right here, and then if you want it to sparkle, add a little bit of your glitter. You know, remember back in the day, I don't know about you, but Martha Stewart's glitter was everywhere. I bought so much glitter, and I still have it because of this same reason. If I want to add a bit of glitter to something, it's there. So it just so happens I did have embossing powder. I'm just letting my heat tool get hot. And I'm going to zoom in because this is the exciting part. See how that's sparkle in there? And then we're going to emboss it. And on this piece here, I stamp it the same way as the last piece, except for this is going to be just like a die cut piece without the die cut. We're going to do it with our cutting knife, but it's very simple. And isn't that nice? I just shoved my hand across it there to make sure it was all embossed. And then I can set that aside. Now the idea for this is to be a back-to-back shaker. And you'll see when I get farther down the line here what I mean. I want two cards. I want to cover one card backing so that when you flip the card back and forth, you're going to have the same, I used Prills and little beads inside as my shaker, but you'll get to see it from both angles. So now I have this wonderful set, and it's called Blessed. And you can have blessing and blessed, I think, on there. And it's nice, and it's wide enough in the brush lettering that the script is in that we can cut around it the insides for the shaker, and that's what we're going to do here. So I'm just going to set it back in the Mini Misti and turn it over so I have the bless. Isn't that wonderful? And then the ED is in this set. And like I said, I will link it up. So I'm just kind of measuring it on both sides here. And because I don't have the die for it, this is where the idea came to just cut the elements out from the word, like the B up at the top there, the L, and the last D. And that way you can see the shaker elements and you don't need a die. You're going to see those shakers through the actual letters. So that was my idea here. And then as we move along, you want to make sure the E and the S and then the other E is level. And then you'll know you have it pretty well even, if I can say that. Isn't that a beautiful font? I just love that. So now I'm going to cover it. I'm going to see here what emboss. Yes, the gold. We're going back, but I think this is my flat gold. This doesn't have, I can tell it is. This is my antique gold, and we're going to heat set that, and that way you have the element of sparkle. Now you can see I pretty well stick to the same floral, except for on the left there, we're going to heat set that. On the left where I have the clear embossing powder, I'm going to paint that with the Prima paints. And then I'm going to stamp the left one and put my Perfect Pearls as the coloring for the back. So it's going to look like a framed card. We're going to make a frame. We're going to make it look like we die cut the outside of this 4.5 by 5, 4.25 by 5.5 inch cardstock. Here comes my file eraser because a little bit of the embossing powder strayed. I kind of must have had some Versamark up there, but if you take your file eraser, it will come right off. You don't have to worry about it and restamp it, which is wonderful. Now here I'm going to get my blender pens to see which one works. And back then, remember, I just bought one, my last haul, because I needed it. But I did have one that worked quite well. It still had enough of the glycerin in it. And if your blender pens don't work, just put them in glycerin in a little bottle and leave them overnight. And when you come back, it will be nice and juicy and you'll be able to use it. And or you can just take out the end if it comes apart and pour it in and then put it back together, and you'll have a nice blender pen again. I wish I had thought of that before I bought my extra blender pen. But anyway, I did soak mine and they do work beautifully. And when you get a close-up of this, it just dries as wet looking as you put it on, which is really nice. I'm just going to speed it up. And isn't it pretty? This Zentangle set is a really nice set to have. It actually breaks all of those flowers up so you have them individually. I think it's rather nice. So once I get finished doing all this, we're going to move forward and we're going to cut it just as if we had a die cut for the word blessed. And that way when we make a shaker, you're going to see the elements. So get a piece of paper, put it on top of the work we just did right here, and then we'll begin to cut. And I love the Fiskars finger cutter. Gives you full control when you're trying to cut something out, especially thick cardstock like this Recollections 110 black cardstock from Michaels. It is the thickest black cardstock on the market, I think. It's super, super thick. It's thicker than any of Recollections colored paper, I know. So I love to keep this in stock. So you want to go out, just smooth the edges that you see, and then we're going to move forward. And this makes for a nice shaker. Like if you have any dies that have large openings in them, especially brush lettering, you'll find that they're quite open. See when I'm dragging this, how thick that cardstock is? It's so beautiful. So then, oh yes, I actually did. Yeah, remember, I just want to say again, this is the video that I lost the footage. And I was so disappointed because, you know, when you come up with a card that you really, really like and you really want to share it and inspire people to use different techniques in a card, and then, you know, you go to find the footage and it's gone. I don't know what it did to me, but anyway, I think I can get through this to where you see both of the techniques on each side. So I'll just keep moving forward and you can take out of it whatever inspires you. So I'm taking out the little wee gut pieces in the S. Isn't that tiny? It's amazing how this Fiskars cutting knife works. It really does stay sharp. I haven't replaced it in years. I mean, I've had it 4 years, I think, and it cuts just as sharp as it did when I bought it. Now, after this, I'm going to have to explain really well, and hopefully I do it well so that you can understand, because this is where I lost the footage at the end. We're going to make shaker card with a front and a back. This is going to be the front, and we're going to have to make a frame. So you can either do it where you cut lengths of cardstock. I had a frame die that I just ran through my die cutting machine. So it was 1 inch. So I ran it through the Vagabond. So now I'm just cutting the edges off. But if I had to do it again, all you need to do is cut strips. So 1 inch strips, 1/2 inch strips, 3/4 inch strips, whatever you want your frame to be in. Here I was just experimenting, but if I had to do it again, just make strips because you're going to tape them to make a frame. So as I go around here, you're going to do this twice. So you need 2 frames, right? One for the front, one for the back. And then when we position, and you'll see why you can do it either like this. I don't know why I thought of cutting that out with an actual frame, because I knew I was just going to cut the pieces. I guess I was just testing it out to see if it was quicker this way, which it was fine. But if I had to do it again, I would just cut lengthwise on your 8.5 by 11 inch paper to whatever thickness you want. And here you can see I think it's 3/4 of an inch. Now I position it like I'm doing a frame. Now remember, you need 2 of them. It's going to be a shaker. So you're going to have to put your double-sided tape and 2 pieces of acetate, right? One for the front, one for the back to hold the gut pieces of your shaker elements in. So right now I'm just experimenting with how much room. I want to have at least 1 inch all the way around on my frame, I think. And you're going to need a grid. It'll help you tremendously. When you have your frame built, build another one so you have 2. Tape them together, and then on the opposite side of both, you're going to stamp the little flowers that come in the stamp set. One of the frames, you're going to put Versamark stamping on it, and you're going to put your gold embossing powder, the flat gold, to match the blessed. So that frame is going to be like that. But on your second frame, you're going to stamp it in your Versamark the same way you did your first frame, but you're going to stamp the flowers out, and you're going to put perfect pearls, all different colors. You're just going to brush the perfect pearls on so that when I do the scripture card, and you'll see it at the end, I'm going to reverse the frame so that the perfect pearls frame is going to show on this blessed flat gold. So it's all gold on the 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Then the frame is going to have the perfect pearls. And inside the frame, it's going to be prills, 3 colors of prills. So what's really nice about this project to get the ending is this side that you've taped, turn it over and then stamp with Versamark the flowers in this set, and then use your Versamark, and on the Versamark use your gold embossing powder. Then your other frame, tape it up like this, turn it over, stamp it with Versamark, but use your powders. Use your thick pearls, right? So one frame on the opposite side of your tape is gold embossing powder. The other frame is perfect pearls after you put the Versamark on. Then you're going to lay out the frame like this with the tape looking up at you just like this, and with the blessed looking down identical to this. Then you're going to put double-sided tape on there. Oh, wait a minute. Missed this part. You're going to take any die or punch that you have that makes flourishes or leaves or something that you can cut out. I had an oval frame that had leaves on it, and then I had another die cut that I punch that had all kinds of filigree. See how this has all that? You're going to fill the frame in with it so that the frame has, before you put your acetate down, it has this beautiful floating filigree in the 1-inch part around the blessed 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Both pieces, you're going to see these beautiful leaves just floating there. So I even thought of taking the Heartfelt Creation border die and putting it down the sides, but then I thought, you know what, I'm just going to take all of this filigree and leaves from a die cut that I had and fill it up. So you're just going to tape both sides, and then you're going to put glossy accents on all of this covering of the leaves. So now you have your frame looking at you with the double-sided tape on it. You put all this down, put glossy accents over top of this side, double-sided tape around your frame, and a piece of acetate. Once the glossy accents dries, put your acetate down on the double-sided tape. Then turn it over, and you're going to put glossy accents on the other side of your page here. It'll all make sense when you see the pictures. The friend that I sent this to, she inspired me to put this video up, even though I don't have the instructions for the end. And I want to apologize again for not, for if it frustrated you to watch it without having the ending on it. I do hope I can explain it. I'm trying to the best of my ability. So what you have are the two frames. One frame, you taped it together, right? You cut it out to make a frame, tape it all together. Turn one over, stamp the pretty flowers all over, and then use your gold embossing powders on the Versamark. Get your other frame, turn it over, and then stamp the flowers again all the way around your frame, and then use your powders on it. And then you're going to die cut or punch any type of filigree to tape on this. And once you fill the space on the back of one of your frames like this, add glossy accents to all the little leaves. Then when it dries, turn it over and do it to the reverse side. Then you're going to put acetate down on, say it's looking just like this, okay, the back. You've got the taped frame and you have the back of blessed. You want to put double-sided tape, flat tape going around the frame, add your acetate down to the full page. And then you're going to add your prills over top of that. Then you're going to put double-sided high tape, like the rolled tape, the thick tape. You're going to put that on top of the acetate where you put your prills. The only thing different when you're making this is the fact that you're going to have little wee beads behind the blessed. So when the acetate goes down fully on this, because you're going to make a shaker, right? So when everything is completed, before you put the final acetate down, I want you to put one Scotch roll all the way around the inside of the blessed cardstock so that you can put your little beads in there, so they'll be different than the prills. They're going to be finer little sparkle glitter, and then you're going to make the inside like a shaker. So the blessed part, they're going to be tiny little seed beads, so that it's different. It's going to be gold, so it's going to be different than the actual outside with the prills. So let us recap really quickly before I get to the pictures here. Now, because you're going to have two shakers, right? You're going to have the 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch. You're going to make that as a shaker, but with fine shaker bits. And I used gold. Any fine shaker pieces would be great. So you're going to put the acetate down over top of the whole frame. And then when the acetate is down, go around that little 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch frame you're looking at now. Ignore what I'm doing here. I'm just straightening it up. You're going to put the Scotch foam around that. Then you're going to put your little gold pieces behind there. And then you're going to add the card base, right? The full card base where I put my scripture verse. And then, because you put the foam tape 3 high on the outside of the frame, you can set your final piece of acetate down so that it will protect your prills that are going around, and the glossy accents make it freestanding, so all those prills don't get stuck to anything because it's shiny, and it makes it possible for all those prills to shake around. And then when you shake it, you have a double shaker. The gold beads behind the blessed, where the other card is, they're going to shake as gold pieces, and it's kind of like an illusion, right? So this is where I lost the end of the film, where I'm showing you how to attach it. So here we go. We're going to look at it, and I'm going to show you the pictures of the card. I already sent this off to my friends, so I'm going to try to explain it here. On the A Merry Heart Maketh a Cheerful Countenance, Proverbs 15:13, I did with my gold pen. I just did faux brush lettering myself. And then the flowers that I stamped in Versamark, I used the beautiful Perfect Pearls. Just brushed them on there. But the outer frame, I did my Prima paints, and I painted it so that it looked painterly next to the gold blessed there. And you can see the acetate is directly behind it. And the prills slide everywhere on the outside where the little leaves are. And here it is again. You can see the prills, and you can see a little bit of the gold little flecks I put behind the shaker, the second shaker, which is the blessed card. So that was evident there. So really, the outside frame is reversed to whatever I did on the inside. So the gold, you're going to have the Prima flowers on the frame all colored in. And then on my scripture verse, you're going to have them with your Perfect Pearls. Then I found gold rope, and I put it all around the edges because it's raised 3 high, and I didn't want you to see the Scotch tape. So have a blessed week, my friends. I hope this was helpful, and I hope you liked it, and I explained it well enough. Take care, and I'll see you on my next card video.